The numbers are worrying. A fear this might be Christmas 2020 all over again. The Midland Hospital closed to visitors. A report of someone as young as 17 in ICU. The numbers every day not coming down. Numbers in ICU, numbers in hospital going up. And you're wondering, why are we lifting all restrictions on the 22nd?
Well, the numbers are worrying. The Delta wave didn't turn out to be as severe as we feared. If you look at the four models that NPHET put forward, we did better than the optimistic model. So the Delta wave didn't turn out to be as bad as we thought it would be. But we've never managed to really get numbers down in Ireland. And, that is a question that we talk about and ask ourselves about in government all the time. The Delta wave swept across Europe, went from west to east, and you see countries now in Central Europe that are now yellow zones or green zones, and we're still a red zone. Our incidence is still very high in Ireland.
And do you have any understanding why that is? Because I remember the Taoiseach saying at one point, we're going to go on data, not dates. But we are going on a date this time. It's the 22nd of October. And I'm wondering, where's the science that says it's safe to open on the 22nd?
Well, there is going to be an NPHET meeting early next week, and we'll have to see what the outcome of that meeting is and what their advice is. There's lots of theories as to why the incidence in Ireland has remained very high. Nobody knows for sure. But, I think one thing we can say is that notwithstanding the enormous reopening that has happened, schools back, colleges back, people going back to work, most of the economy fully reopened, we haven't seen numbers go up much or take off much. They've been pretty stable at around 13, 14, 1,500 a day, but stable at a high level, and that is a cause for concern.
This is a pandemic in the United States and in Europe of the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
The vaccine bonus we were promised, the only vaccine bonus that will remain after the 22nd, if everything goes according to plan, is the ability to fly if you've got a vaccine cert or if you get a PCR test or an antigen test. And the people who chose not to get vaccinated, who, put the rest of us in harm's way, they get a bonus. They can go to any restaurant, any theatre, any cinema without let or hindrance. And they'll be looking at the rest of us saying, weren't you the Egypts now to get vaccinated?
Well, first of all, like what you say is correct. It is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated. That wasn't the case, obviously, before the vaccines. The vaccines are safe and enormously effective. There are about 75 people in ICU today. 50 of those are not fully vaccinated. So if everyone was fully vaccinated, there'd only be 25 in ICU. Like that's the difference the vaccines are making. And just that 8%.
So why should those people be rewarded? There is still a great pool of people who are potentially to be infected by COVID, which will find you if you're vulnerable, because we've 3.5 million fully vaccinated people or thereabouts. Population is 5 million. That means there's 1.5 million. Many of them, of course, under 12, because they haven't got the go-ahead to be vaccinated yet. But it's 1.5 million of people who are a potential well of infection. So why should we not restrict the unvaccinated from certain activities and give the bonus to the people who did what the government asked and got vaccinated?
Yeah, but isn't that what we're doing? So
no, but after the 22nd, anyone can go into any restaurant, mix with who knows who's beside you, unvaccinated. Why should that be?
Well, that's something we're going to have to consider next week. The plan is to lift pretty much all legal restrictions on the 22nd of October, to remove the vaccine pass from restaurants, for example. But that is something we're going to have to consider now next week, depending on where we stand with the numbers and what the advice from NPHET is. I'm very keen that we should go ahead with the full reopening on October 22nd. I want to see the restrictions in hospitality end. I'd like to see full stadiums, nightclubs open. But we do have that issue. Yeah, you're
so
right.
That's not a given yet. Some people have characterised so-called Freedom Day as free for all day, but that's not necessarily going to be the case.
And I have to say, Freedom Day is never a term that's been used by the Irish government. We've always talked
I'm using it for shorthand.
We've always talked about the new normal. No, the plan is to go ahead and ease most of the remaining legal restrictions on the 22nd of October, but that will depend on the numbers over the next couple of days. It will depend on the advice from NPHET, and I can't rule out the possibility that we may reopen but still retain some restrictions.